Good morning, everyone. My name is Shoshanna Gross. I am the Director of Events and Programming with the Ohio Restaurant Association, and today we are talking government affairs with Todd Bowen. Hi, Todd.
Good morning, Shoshanna. How are you?
I'm doing great, thanks. Glad to have you here today to talk about everything that's happening at our three major levels of government, so our local, state, and federal. So we're going to kick off today talking about local because there's a lot of municipal elections coming up. So what do we have to tell folks about that?
Yeah, Shoshanna, because usually in an election year, people don't really start paying attention to elections until around the Labor Day timeframe, but we're fast approaching that. And generally, folks, they know when there's a presidential election or a gubernatorial election, but I just wanted to remind everyone of how important local municipal leaders are to the restaurant community, to the entire business community, and just to thriving communities. And in Ohio, all of our major cities are going to have municipal elections here in November. And we're going to have 3 new mayors in at least 3 of the major cities, and that would be Dayton, Cleveland, and Cincinnati, based on term limits or folks moving on for one reason or another. But in all of the cities, there will be important city council elections. I just want to encourage everyone watching, become an informed voter about the elections in your municipality. Try to learn, and often these are field races, and there's a lot of folks running for one seat oftentimes. So try your best to learn about the folks in your city, and definitely reach out to us. We really work hard to try to know who are the most pro-business candidates. We really aren't as concerned with some of the other issues that might be facing, but we always advocate for pro-business candidates. And the other thing I would say, if you have a relationship with one of your local elected officials or one of your state elected officials, it's so important to let me know of those relationships. I've been on the road a lot. I've been to Cleveland twice, Medina, all the small towns around Ohio. We're going to be going to Cincinnati twice next year. And it really gives us a leg up on building those relationships when there's a local restaurateur who already has those. So definitely reach out to me. Let me know what you know about the folks in your area. That really helps us a lot.
Absolutely, yeah. The Restaurant Association is coming down to Cincinnati next month, actually, twice. September 9th and the 13th, we'll be visiting members for a number of different reasons. We'll be joining the Dine with Design event in Cincinnati, and we'll also be joining John Francois at Taste of Belgium for an event with him as well. So we know that municipal elections are so important. Getting involved with local politics really can make a difference in your immediate community and certainly in the business that you're running. What's going on at the state level, and what should folks be paying attention to there?
At the state level, Shoshanna, what I would say, number one, the grant application process for the Ohio Department of Development grant is still open. I'm going to guess most folks who are eligible have already applied. If you haven't, make sure you do that. But the thing that I am seeing so much within the last month is just the incredible amount of misinformation and disinformation that is out there on vaccines, vaccine mandates, mask mandates. In fact, I think there's some misinformation out there that's being done purposefully. And I would really encourage you, number one, read our memo. We really do try to put great information in there. It came out last night, but call me. I am really glad to help talk through that. There are things happening at the Ohio legislature, but we're really on top of those. But make sure that you learn the facts as opposed to just kind of things that are spreading on the internet. Here in Ohio, we're not likely to see a state mandated vaccine mandates, but we do believe businesses should have the right to make the decisions that they know what's best for their employees, their guests. So we're fighting hard. The owners and operators should have that freedom. And I think we're making some progress on that, but I just want to encourage everyone, don't always rely on random things going around the internet. Call us. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time kind of weeding through all of that information, misinformation, so that you don't have to. And I would also say that we recently just did our monthly poll, and some of the questions were around what are your peers doing. So maybe you had a chance to answer those questions, but if you didn't, and you'd like to know what other folks have decided to do for their businesses, we'll have some of that information out soon as well. So be on the lookout for that. So last thing we want to talk about is the federal restaurant revitalization fund. So that's still sitting in Congress. What's going on there?
Yeah, really the latest on that, we continue to fight for replenishment of the restaurant revitalization fund. The NRA and all of the state restaurant associations signed a letter to Congress that just went out at the beginning of this week. And there's, again, more on that on yesterday's daily memo. But we're just reminding Congress that especially with the rise of the Delta variant, and there's been some softening of sales in August, that restaurants really do have a long path back, and that we really do, many of our operators do need a little bit of extra help. And the RRF is the best way for Congress to do that because the program already exists. And with the Entree Act, it can actually already be paid for with some already existing federal dollars that didn't get utilized. So we think that's a really great way for them to do that. We're going to keep making that point here in Ohio. If you haven't at restaurantsact.com added your voice, make sure you go on and do that today. That's a really important thing and another way that you can help.
Is it worthwhile for people to continue reminding their congressmen if they have already? Should they reach back out and just say this is still something that matters and would make a difference?
100%. We do that on a regular basis, but it's really important that you do reach out to your member of Congress. Even if they're for it, it just keeps it front of mind when they're having conversations with their colleagues who might not have already signed on. So even if your congressman has already stated that they're for it, remind them that it hasn't happened and it's really desperately needed.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Todd. As always, this is really great information for everyone to have some good action items and things to pay attention to. So we appreciate your insight.
Thanks, Shoshanna. Always good to see you.
Have a good one.